Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Got a few things to discuss with you in this very latest Moon Lambeau hot jam. It's a very hot jam today, including the fact that, frankly, Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, snaps back at SEC Chair Gensler because Gare Bear ain't making no goddamn sense. And you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment, but it's another one of these instances where these people at the SEC, certainly Gary Gensler, they'll speak out of both sides of their mouth. They'll make arguments. You see this in the SEC versus Ripple case all the time. The SEC lawyers, they'll just make whatever argument that they need to make in the moment to make sense of whatever the hot topic is just right then. But it frequently contradicts things that they've said in the past. And it's like they want things to be both ways simultaneously, and it is completely ridiculous as far as I'm concerned here. Also, Brad Garlinghouse was supposed to have been deposed, that's to say, speaking under oath, just yesterday, but that might not have happened. Well, I got an update for you on that. And also, I'm not kidding when I say this. This is, like, to me, a stunning admission, right? Because, like, as far as the William Hinman speech, I'm sure I'm going to have to assume that you guys know what I'm talking about at this point, because we've just been talking about it so much. The whole XRP community has, frankly. The William Hinman speech giving Ethereum a free pass. We now have an admission in writing to the court that it wasn't just Gary working on it. I don't even know what the hell to do with that. It's plenty to talk about, but before we go further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby, just for fun. That's all that's going on here. And so here's an article from Bloomberg. I'm not going to read the article. Actually, most of what was discussed, or at least chunks of it, I actually covered in my very last video. It's rather thorough. I was not a happy Moon Lambeau when it came to Gary Gensler, and the SEC in that hot jam. But anyway, here it is from Bloomberg. Gary Gensler's push for the Securities and Exchange Commission to get tough on cryptocurrencies is drawing a rebuke from Republican Senator Pat Toomey. And so Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse retweeted that Bloomberg article and wrote the following. Chair Gensler insisted again in today's testimony that the securities laws are clear and easily understandable for the crypto market, and then turned around and said Congress needs to write laws to clarify. So which one is it? See, and look, this is the trouble when you say stuff that you don't really believe, and I suspect that may just be the case with Gary. It's like when you say stuff that you don't really believe just to defend a point, like you get to a point where, like, you have trouble tracking your own lies. So inevitably, there's some sort of breakdown here. And so whether it's a lie or like look, I don't think that he believes what he's saying there. I don't, because I don't think he's stupid. I think he's Dictator Gary, and he's doing what he wants to do. Dictator Gary. It's his way or the highway. He doesn't care about the rule of law. He really, you should check out my last video, seriously. But as far as this goes here, there's just another instance where he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth, whatever suits them in the moment. And so Jeremy Hogan, who is an XRP community member, runs the YouTube channel Legal Briefs, retweeted that and wrote the following. Curious how Mr. Garlinghouse had time to watch Gensler's testimony today and tweet about it, all the while being deposed by the SEC. Either the deposition didn't happen today, or Brad is an absolute genius at doing two things at once, or someone else handles his Twitter, smiley face. So that was interesting, right? He was supposed to be under oath, being questioned by the SEC today, but here he was tweeting and checking out what was going on with Dictator Gary, and the conversation with Senator Elizabeth Warren, all that jazz that I talked about in my last video. Brad Garlinghouse well aware as that was unfolding, but he's supposed to be deposed at that exact moment in time. So is it the case that he was not? And if not, why not? And so your brain might have gone in the direction that mine did, because, for instance, here somebody named the Tattooed Crypto Trader wrote, or he watched it after the deposition, as in he was deposed, he spoke under oath, and then he got caught up on this. That crossed my mind, but because I don't know what would, like, how does it take to, what if you're being deposed? Like, what's that look like? I don't know. I don't have experience in that. But it's a reasonable thing to think. And so Jeremy Hogan did respond to that, and he wrote, he's a defendant in a billion-dollar case. His deposition will last all day and then some. My deposition on Friday is already going on hour 6, and, well, there's much less than $1 billion at issue. Much, much less. And so apparently these things go on figuratively forever. Most people would say literally because they literally don't know how to use the word literally, and they should use figuratively. You're welcome. I'm good at that stuff. That's why you guys come here for these hot jams. And so there's that. So look, if he wasn't deposed, I don't know what that means. I don't have any sort, to be honest with you, I don't have insight on that because I just don't have a legal background. I mean, I can tell you where my brain went, but it doesn't mean anything necessarily. But I was thinking, okay, because there's no indication that it was like rescheduled either. Why would that have happened, right? We probably would have heard something about that. But I mean, is it the case that I don't think this. I don't think this. But are there actually is there something else? It's just something that entered my brain. That's all it is. I don't believe this. But is it the case that settlement talks are ongoing now, and for some reason he doesn't? Brad Garlinghouse no longer needs to be deposed. It's probably something else. It's just something that entered my brain. I don't actually think that's necessarily likely. I don't have a good reason to. So I'll just defer to the attorneys within the XRP community to see what they think, and we can talk about that more in a future video here. And then there was this from attorney James Filand. The SEC has filed its letter brief regarding the allegedly privileged documents it's withholding from Ripple. The SEC claims that every single document that will be reviewed by Judge Netburn in camera is privileged. And so what we're talking about right here is the fact that, of course, as you know, the court ordered the SEC must provide documents having to do with the decisions that and discussions that the SEC had having to do with Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP, so that we can kind of figure out what the train of thought was. It has to do with everything with the with Ripple's fair notice defense. And so the SEC doesn't want to turn over anything. And so Judge Netburn I'm glad she's doing this, though. She's going to do an in-camera review. In camera, all as it turns out that means is she's just going to personally review all the documents. In camera, I don't know why that term is what it is. It's a legal thing, but it just means she's going to be personally review all of the documents. But the SEC's claiming that there's privilege. This stuff can't be leaked out. We can't have Ripple or anyone else under the sun see it. And so the judge is like, okay, well, give it to me and I'll determine if it qualifies for privilege or not. And so the SEC's saying everything in this qualifies for privilege. And so the document is rather long. It's 26 pages. And so I just came across this a bit before recording. So I have not read this myself yet. So I'm sure there's going to be more to say about this in the future. But an XRP community member named Wrath of Kahneman, he already did read through it. And he highlighted some stuff. And this first part is absolutely mind-blowing. Check this out. I kid you. I am not overselling this. So here's what XRP community member Wrath of Kahneman wrote on Twitter. The SEC letter to Judge Netburn, even redacted, and by the way, there's a lot of redactions, but he writes, adds a lot of color to the story. Number one, and this is my favorite of all the points. Check this out. Number one, Hinman's speech was discussed internally before delivery, but a speech on the SEC website by an SEC official discussed internally by the SEC is not official? Well, check this out. And we've been making this point the whole time, but here's why it's more mind-blowing. It's on your screen. Let me read this for you. Entry 9 consists of an email enclosing a draft of the Hinman speech for review and comment by SEC officials, including the directors of various SEC offices and divisions and the then chair of the SEC. The draft speech and corresponding email are pre-decisional and deliberative, as Director Hinman was seeking feedback from other SEC personnel about the speech's contents prior to its delivery. Right. And so we already knew, the part that we knew before this was that there were believe 63 email, or it was I think it was attachments. I could be mistaken, but there was I remember the number 63. And so obviously the Hinman speech, it was going all over the place within the SEC, right? And but check this out. This is an astonishing admission, right? Just check this out. The email, and then there's something redacted on the screen, so I can't read that for you. And then it reads as follows. As such, the staff was deliberating on what the speech should say, and no final decision had been reached about its contents. Such drafts and related emails are protected by the DPP. My friends, do you see the stunning admission here? Let me read that first part again. The staff was deliberating on what the speech should say. Whoa. I'm sorry. Didn't you have Mr. Hinman confess under or state under oath that the opinions within that speech were his thoughts alone? The Ethereum free speech, free pass speech in June of 2018. Yeah, he did. Hinman said it was just his thoughts, and now you have the SEC right here on your screen admitting the staff was deliberating on what the speech should say. Well, how the hell is it just his opinion and not official SEC decree? Of course it is, and that's the way it was presented. You can't have it be designed by the SEC and then trot out one guy and say, "Oh, it's just my opinion." You can't do that. That is not remotely ethical. There's no way that's reasonable. This is huge right here. They're admitting it. Come on here. This is why it's like this should tremendous. I would think. I mean, look, mind you. Okay, I don't have a legal background, so I don't know the legal implications. I'm just speaking as a layperson here. Like that to me is powerful, and I'm willing to bet that everybody listening would probably feel the same. Right? That is powerful. That's a huge admission playing directly into Ripple's fair notice defense, which is a serious defense. And then point number 2 here, Wrath of Kahneman writes, not only that, it seems other agencies may have been part of the deliberative process. And check this out. It wasn't even necessarily just the SEC. This is the first I've heard of this concept. But here's a little snippet that he shared. Moreover, as noted above, the draft and the dozens of other drafts on the Hinman speech that the SEC logged in an effort to provide to defendants the information they claimed to want through Director Hinman's deposition, i.e., who reviewed the Hinman speech and when, are intra-agency communications outside the scope of the court's order. Well, how about that? That's fascinating. I'm not quite sure what the implications of that are, but interesting nonetheless. Number 3. Again, this is from XRP community member Wrath of Kahneman. In 2019, SBI took a meeting with the SEC Commissioner Peirce, talking about Hester Peirce there, in which they discussed, among other things, the status of digital assets, including XRP. Number 4, in 2018, derivatives expert CME took a meeting with the SEC to discuss XRP specifically. So think about this, back in 2018. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense. It really doesn't make a damn bit of sense of if Ripple is doing so bad for so long, why would the SEC wait so long? Why wouldn't they file some sort of injunction stopping cryptocurrency exchanges in the United States from selling the damn thing, or threats to Ripple sooner, this or that? No, their approach is what, literally, oh, this is harming investors. Let's continue to let investors be harmed for about an entire decade, and then we're going to take an action. Oh, thanks for nothing, you bunch of asshats. And then he wraps up by stating here, there are many other digital asset platform regulators, etc., listed in the appendix that are being sought. So that's what we've got to this point. Again, I suspect there are going to be more said by others within the XRP community, including the XRP attorneys or the attorneys within the XRP community that frequently chime in on this stuff. So there's probably going to be more to say. But I wanted to at least address this since this document just came out the later part of yesterday. And then that part, man, that first part was just so astonishing. I'm just like, that's an admission. Oh my gosh, it is not Bill Hinman. It is not just Bill Hinman's own personal opinion. It's the SEC that put the damn thing together. Really grinds my gears, folks. Really grinds my gears. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.